And we are live. Hello, friends. Josh Goldstein coming at you. Hope everybody is having an amazing day today. I'm Josh Goldstein, your favorite immigration lawyer, and I'm here to talk to you about the questions that you will get at interviews. I know what questions are going to ask you because I have been to 11 billion immigration interviews. Okay, maybe it's not that many. I've been told a million times not to exaggerate. Hey, Rahel, great to see you on Instagram. How are? Hope you're doing great. Hope you're doing great. I'm going to answer all your questions, or at least try to. We have the first lady on TikTok. Oh my God. Jill Biden has joined us. That's amazing. Welcome. We got the Lion King, Jennifer. Let me know where you're coming at me from. I am in downtown Los Angeles on a beautiful, beautiful day here. So one of the things I want you to know about interviews, and I want everyone, if you get anything out of this broadcast, I want you to know this one thing. We have someone from New York, Delaware. I love this. I can tell you 90% of the questions that are going to be in your immigration interview. I already know what they are. How could that be? How could I already know what the questions are? Well, at the interview, all they do is they read your applications back to you. That's what they do. They take your application and they read it back to you line by line. So whatever you're applying for, whether it's a visa or a green card or citizenship, look at the relevant applications that you filled out and read through them. Start with question number 1. What is your name? Question number 2. Have you ever used any other names? Question number 3. What's your address? Really, really boring stuff. That is what they're coming at you with. 90% of the questions are going to be that. That's what they're going to ask you. So before your interview, the morning before your interview, the evening before your interview, print out your applications and go through them question by question, line by line. So when they ask you, how long have you lived at your current address? You don't have to be like, well, I moved in, I think it was this date, and maybe, what's your wife's date of birth? I can't remember what, I'm sorry, when did you get married? These things should be like boom, 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 boom. Super easy questions. So that's what they're going to ask you. Another point, they can ask you any question at the interview. I've had questions that have gotten weird where they're asking all sorts of crazy stuff. So I don't want you to get very rigid in your mindset. I don't want you to think, I can only ask these questions. We have someone from Ohio joining us. That's amazing. My whole family lives in Ohio, in Cleveland area. That's great. St. Louis, Missouri, beautiful city. So don't get rigid in your mindset when you're preparing for an interview. Almost any question is fair game. That trips up a lot of people because, for example, when they apply for naturalization, they go to the interview and they're thinking, okay, I need to know who the president is. I need to know what color the flag is. I need to be able to answer all these questions. And then suddenly they start getting all these questions about their ex-wife and their marriage that they used to have years ago. And they think, well, that's not fair. They're not supposed to, I didn't expect this. Sorry. They're going to ask you anything. So that's what it is. Any questions about interviews, about the questions at an interview? So I went to a naturalization interview yesterday, and one of the things at the interview, just getting out my notes, they're going to ask you they're going to ask you questions at the interview about whether you from the naturalization exam. So they're going to ask you, who's the president? What color's the flag? What's the capital of the state you live in? Who's your senator? Who's the, what is the Constitution? They're going to ask you all these sorts of questions. They ask you 10 questions orally. You have to get 6 right. They ask you to read a sentence and write a sentence. And you have to nail all that. It's not that hard. I have never, I've only had one client fail the English and civics test. I've had one client do that. I've had one client who wasn't able to do it. And most of my clients are able to pass the exam without even missing any of the questions. Most people would be able to pass the test without much trouble, but a lot of people would need to study. Who's the majority Speaker of the House of Representatives? Mike Johnson. So I kind of knew that, but unless you follow the news, you might not know that, and that's okay. It doesn't mean you're not smart or whatever. So I'm ready to take questions that you have. And by the way, if you're just joining me and you don't know me, Josh Goldstein. I'm an immigration lawyer. I've been practicing immigration law for more than 20 years. And I've been to countless immigration interviews. I've been to so many different types of interviews. And I've been to interviews in all different types of cities here in California. I've been to interviews in Detroit, Ohio, Nebraska, Iowa, all over the country. So each office is slightly different, has a little bit different vibe, but it's still fundamentally the same situation, same sorts of things. Now I'm going to take any questions that you have. It says some comments in this live were filtered to protect the user experience. I can only imagine what god awful comments we got from before. Love me once one. I'm trying to get my friends from Ghana to Ohio. What's the best way? Well, I need to know a little more about that. If you live in Ghana and you want to move to the US, you're going to need a family petition, an employment-based petition, DV lottery, asylum, student visa, visitor visa. You're going to need some sort of petition. So I'd like to know more of what you need. Maura Gleason joined us. That's awesome. Very happy to see her in here. Sports marketing. Love it. Love all sports. I'm a huge sports fan. I love watching football, soccer, tennis, golf, anything, squash. All right, here's a question from Claudia Arboleda 270. I-45 filed in error as a citizen, but my husband is a resident. Is it corrected with an amendment? Well, I think you have a potential problem. And here's what it is. Can you get a green card through adjustment of status? Are you eligible to file an I-45 if the petitioner is a permanent resident? That's only true if you have a priority date that's current and if you've maintained your status and some other things. So if you don't have a really good lawyer and you're just doing it yourself, I would be careful with this. You may not be on the right track. Incident 67, hi boss. I don't know if I'm your boss. Let's take a question from our friend on YouTube. Howar Silva. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hi, Josh. I married a U.S. citizen. I have a 10-year green card issued 1/27/2022. I will file for my citizenship the coming 2025. When should I send my application? When? Okay. So the general rule is that you can apply for naturalization 5 years after you've had a green card. Okay. Now, to get more technical, you're eligible after 4 years, 9 months, and 1 day from the date that you got your green card as indicated on your green card. So take the date on your green card, add 4 years, 9 months, and 1 day, and that is when you can apply. So if you have a 10-year green card that was issued in January 2022, the general rule is you have to wait 4 years, 9 months, and 1 day. Now, there is a way to shorten that to 3 years or 2 years, 9 months, and 1 day if you're married to a U.S. citizen, and if you live with your U.S. citizen spouse, and if you've continuously resided together in the same household exclusively with your U.S. citizen spouse. So those are all things that you can do. And there are some other shortcuts through military service and different places like this. Um, so yes. All right. Where am I from, sir? I'm from the United States. My offices are in Los Angeles. I also have an office on the East Coast in Boston. We take on cases in all 50 states around the country, around the world, and we have offices in these places. I'm going to be out traveling, doing consultations in person with people. We do everything remotely as well. How long does it take to receive the oath after passing the interview? So I went to an interview for naturalization yesterday, and my client was recommended for approval, and the oath ceremony was conducted immediately following the interview. So he was sworn in on the same day. But in other places, it might work differently. JR says, if I need you, I will look you up. I'm in Florida. We would love it. Zainab says, do you have an office in Chicago? We don't have a physical office in Chicago, but we do help people in Illinois and Chicago. We do it remotely. It's how we do things. So we help people in all 50 states. And, sometimes they're like, well, if you don't have an office, I don't know. But look, we get results. Most of our cases come to us through referrals. People trust us, and that's why they work with us. They see our content and they like it and so on. What's the average wait time for a spouse for a green card holder? Oh, you don't know. Yes, we have clients in Minnesota. I love. We're going to actually open an office in Minnesota this year, which is a secret I haven't announced yet. But yeah, we're opening an office there and some other places. But yes. So if you're a green card holder, Somalia since Abyssinia, your office mentioned that they will call me after the link and they gave you a call, but no call yet. A lot of times we're dealing with people in different time zones and things get mixed up. So I'm really sorry about that. But if you call or email us again, we can try to arrange a time and apologize for the inconvenience. Let's take some questions from Instagram here. Incident 67, J1 visa interview tomorrow. Good luck. Good luck. Be confident. Look them in the eye. Answer the questions. Yes, no, I don't know. Good tips. Get there early. Bring a paper copy of the interview notice. Don't leave any documents at home. You got it. You got it. Good luck. J1 visa is a non-immigrant visa. So one issue is you have to prove that you're going to return to your home country. So be aware of that. I hope that helps. And I hope you join back in and let us know when. Do I have an office in New York? I am licensed to practice law in New York, and we have clients in all 5 boroughs of Manhattan. We have clients in the Western New York, Northern New York, but we help people remotely from all 50 states. Okay, Hawar says, living with wife since 2022. Do I file 90 days before 2025? So let's answer your question directly. Your green card, on your green card, it says you were a permanent resident since January 27th, 2022. Okay, 3 years from that would be January 28th, 2025. We subtract 3 months. That would be December, November, October. And I like to add another week. So let's call it early November of 2025. That would probably be about right. If I did that right. Yeah. Ghana youth relationship. Moonlight. How long does it take for USCIS to respond to an RFE? That's kind of like saying how long is a piece of string. It just depends. I don't really know how long it'll take them to get back to you. Sometimes they respond quickly. Sometimes you respond to an RFE and you don't hear from them for a long time. Mustafa says, how can I make an in-person appointment with me? We don't offer in-person appointments. We do offer appointments by phone and video conferencing through Zoom, Google Meets, and things like that. We find it much easier to do things remotely. You don't have to park or find directions and all that. If you want an in-person appointment and that's really important to you, we're not the right fit for you. But like I said, people hire us because we get good results and we do good work and we treat people great and we give great customer service. So that's how we do it. How many years am I supposed to stay in America as a green card holder before applying for citizenship? Well, if you have a green card, you have to live in the US exclusively, physically, all the time, forever. And the only way out of that is to give up your green card or to become a citizen. You have to apply. You can apply for naturalization 5 or maybe 3 years, depending on your circumstances from when you got your green card. And then you have to stay in the US throughout the naturalization process and so on. Here's someone who says, I just got refused by Australian 771 transit visa. Am I allowed to get another application? It sounds to me like you're asking me questions about Australian immigration, and I don't know anything about the immigration to Australia. If I knew how to immigrate to Australia, I would be in Sydney right now. So I don't know. Yasin, how much to sue the embassy? As far as the price for our services, every case is different, and we need first before we can talk about costs, we need to figure out what's going on. What can we help? Are we the right firm to help you solve your particular type of case? And we often are not. A lot of times we're saying, look, we can't help you with this because one reason or another. But if there is a good fit, then we reach back out and we say, okay, we can help. This is what the costs are, and we try to do that. I had someone who came to us this week through a referral, and she told me about the details of her case. I said, I'm sorry, I cannot help you. And she said, okay, well, what about my cousin? She has this particular type of problem. And then I said, okay, I can help with this. Please, I'll do anything. Please let me help you. Abdi Fanya. This is a good one. Says here, I went through the interview for Kenya Embassy. They put me in AP or refused, and I'm almost waiting. How long have you been waiting, my friend? I would like to know. Let me know. But if you're waiting in administrative processing and you don't want to be waiting in administrative processing anymore, and you want to get your visa, then I want you to contact me in the link in bio, make an appointment with our team. We'll help you out and help you get your visa. Kevin Chen on YouTube. Welcome, Kevin. Says, Josh, thanks for doing this chat. Question. I filed a spousal visa in July 2023. It's been 8 months already. I already submitted a petition. Kevin, are you a U.S. citizen? Let me give you a suggestion. If you're a U.S. citizen, I don't think my math is right for Hawar. Yes, 90 days before the 3 years. So Kevin, if you're a U.S. citizen, I'm going to give you a tip, okay? If you filed an I-130, you should file for a K3 visa, okay? K3 visa. K3 visa. File for a K3 visa. You do it by filing Form I-129F. Kevin, are you listening to this? Because this is really going to help you. Okay. File Form I-129F. It's for a K3 visa. So the concept behind a K3 visa is cool. It's designed to say, okay, you're waiting for your I-130. In the meantime, let's let your spouse come into the U.S. and wait in the U.S. for the case, right? It sounds like a perfect idea. But the way it works in practice, they'll deny the K3 visa petition and they'll approve the I-130. So it effectively expedites things. It's a hack that I'm sharing with you. So file your I-129F requesting a K3 visa. If you need help with this, reach out to us in the link in our bio. But I think it works pretty well. Okay, Abni Fena has been waiting for 3 months in AP. Can you sue them? No, not yet. It's too early. I would say wait 6 months from the interview. Once you've been in AP for 6 months, then you can do it. So give us, hopefully you don't need our help, but if you do, reach out to us in a couple months. Okay. All right. I got more questions. I got more answers. Beatrice says, I got denied my green card because I did a flagpole in Canadian border. Do you know what I can do to solve it? Flagpole, I would need a lot of details about that. I'd like to see the denial letter. Can we help with this? Can we fix it? I don't know, but I would love an opportunity to help. Contact us in the link in our bio. This is not an easy situation. You're going to need a good lawyer for this one. How long will it take to file for my 4-year-old daughter as a green card holder? I think it's going to take some time. This is from a question from TikTok. My advice would be to not get caught up in the processing times and just file the petition. It's a bummer that it will take a long time, but just file it. Kevin, did you get my advice about the I-129F for the K3 visa? I hope you did, because I think that will help you a lot. Okay. K3 visa, 129F, file it. Don't think about it. Just put it in the mail. Do it. Lay says, if you have an N400 interview and spouse wants to divorce, what is the next step? Okay. So there are some potential issues. First of all, if you're a green card holder and you have a 10-year green card and you're applying for naturalization after being a permanent resident for at least 5 years or 4 years, 9 months and 1 day, then your marital status is not at issue. However, if you're applying for naturalization after only 3 years, then your case is based on marriage and the divorce is going to mean that your application is not approvable. So it depends on the basis of your naturalization interview. Does that make sense? Let me know if you understand that. Franklin says, I'm just 3 years in America, but I misplaced my green card. Can I apply for citizenship? So if you lost your green card, you can apply for citizenship without the actual card. Okay. Whether you're eligible to apply for naturalization after only 3 years depends on whether or not you're married to a U.S. citizen and you're living with your U.S. citizen and together. Here's a question about I-730s. I love the I-730. I-730 is a visa petition filed by a asylee or refugee. And a lot of times these cases get delayed and we help people resolve them. It says here, is there an interview for I-730 petitioner or just the beneficiaries? Beneficiaries. AOS file was rejected based on missing date of birth on I-130. Do I file a new form? It's hard for me to give you that advice without reviewing it in person, but whatever you do, you should be aware that the filing fees are going up on April 1st. So get that sorted out and refiled if possible by then. Yes. Here's a question from George. Getting ready to file my AOS adjustment of status application. Tips on having the possibility of skipping the interview. If your case is based on marriage, send a lot of proof that the marriage relationship is genuine. Things like photos, joint bank accounts, joint taxes, wedding ring receipt, proof that you had a marriage, that a wedding, that you live together, that sort of thing. You can't send too much evidence. You can only send not enough. But I recently had an interview for a marriage-based green card, and the officer said, I wonder why they're even doing this interview. And he looked and he said, oh yeah, there weren't enough bona fide documents sent. And thankfully it was a case prepared by another lawyer, not us. So, yes, Kevin, I would say you're going to file Form I-129F. You're going to request a K3 visa, and the effect of that application is that you might effectively expedite your I-130, but it's worth a try. I would do that if I were you. Koo Williams says, can I travel after filing an N-400? Yes, you can travel if you're a permanent resident and, other factors are not in play. But sometimes people will travel and they'll stay outside the U.S. for long periods of time, or they'll travel really frequently in a way that suggests that they're not living in the U.S., and that can be extremely problematic. So I think you should avoid doing that. Here's a question from someone who says, do you need a certificate of citizenship if you never had one, but you got your passport? Yes, I highly recommend you apply, file an N-600 and get a certificate of citizenship. Definitely do that. How does it work for married people living in different states because of school? It doesn't work. I think that's going to be very, very hard to get approved. I would say find a different school or wait to apply, or you need an overwhelming amount of evidence that your marriage relationship is genuine. That would be something extraordinary. And you should definitely do not try this without hiring me or another lawyer. It's a very challenging case. They're going to be skeptical. Is there an interview for a green card based on asylum? Maybe. Maybe there will be. Can I stay in the U.S. while waiting for an I-129, I-539 result? B2 visa holder here. Kashin, if you are here as a visitor and you filed Form I-539 to extend your status as a visitor, then I am begging you not to do that. Just leave the U.S. and don't come back for a long period of time, because if you extend the stay, it just turns into a big mess. So don't do that. That is one form that I highly recommend that you don't do. Here's one. M&H. How long to wait? She's been waiting 2 years for a green card based on I-45. I would love to help you with that case. Here's Asma Ali. Asma Ali, are you listening to me? Says my husband got DS 5535221G. I'm waiting for him for 6 years. Please help me. Contact me. I'm going to put my email here, and I want you to email me. And I want you to put no more waiting in the subject line. My email is joshua@jgoldlaw.com. joshua@jgoldlaw.com. My email is a link in my bio. So you can email me there. A lot of times people are like, well, how do we call you? It's my number's in the bio. My email address is in the bio. All that stuff is there. Let me know what other questions you have, friends. Let me know. Let me know. Here's a question from Marcy Pesgian. J1 2-year rule. Should it be home country or just outside the U.S.? Home country. The 2-year foreign residency requirement requires you to live in your home country for 2 years. There is a waiver if your country, and it's pretty easy to get the waivers. We can help you with this, but only if the waiver is based on a no objection statement from your home country. If it's based on something else, like, extreme hardship, those can be nearly impossible to get done.